I want to talk about different setting options that we want to set in Trimble Field Link. The first setting that I want to talk about is found under the job mode folder up here. So we're going to go click on the job mode. These settings are set before we actually create a job because this defines certain information while we work. So we select the settings button over on the left hand side here. And here we have three settings that we want to look at. First of all, on the left, we got the distance unit. And in the distance unit, we can specify 1/16 of an inch precision up to a feet precision. Do we want, and again, this is going to show us our measurements. So when we actually measure something, compute something in here, do we want to show them in the 1/16 precision, quarter inch precision, or maybe even in meters? So we have that ability there. The most important setting in this here is the coordinate order. Here, we want to make sure that we specify the correct order before we import or export points from our software. It's also very important to recognize when you receive points in what order they're in, and you want to make sure that your settings here match that order. So the orders are either X, Y, Z or N, E, Z precisely. So again, make sure that you have the correct order before you import or export. And lastly, we have the language setting. And the language setting will specify how do we see menus and in what language that menu is. So you see here there's very different menus that you can, or very different languages you can choose from and all. The second set of settings that we want to look at, like I mentioned, is under the layout mode. So we're going to go ahead and click out the little flag here for the layout mode. And here, these settings control how we lay out our points when we're out on the field. So when we're using the controller, we want to make sure that you specify the settings beforehand. So the first thing we'll take a look at over towards the left is your horizontal and your vertical tolerance. So under horizontal, you can specify whether you wanted to go down to a 1/16 of an inch all the way up to an inch. And on your vertical tolerance, you have the ability to actually ignore if you don't care about the elevation. But if you do care about the elevation, you want to specify either to the 1/16 of an inch or up to an inch. Next, on the settings, we have layout mode. And on the layout, we can actually specify, does the controller guide us to the next point on the list, or does it guide us to the nearest point to us? So you want to make sure that you specify which option you want on there. Your next is your DRA mode. And here we can specify either it's going to be a standard or a visual layout. And again, this is for when you're using the laser setting inside of your robot. For more detailed explanation, just please reference your user guide. The next is your measure mode, and your measure mode is either high precision or a fast precision. And this will determine, does the instrument actually take one shot and give you that location, or do you want to take a multiple shot to give you a more high precision there? So again, you want to specify which one here, and then for greater detail, again, reference your user guide. So that right there covers the main two settings inside of Trimble Field Link.